Welcome to the Cozy Convos podcast. I am your host, Elijah. You guys, I am so happy to be back with you all for a brand new episode, okay? I got a cute little setup going here. I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a different vibe, something fresh, something funky, if you know what I mean. I created my little mic stand here, girl, just to really give the podcast a vibe, do you know what I mean? But you guys, I'm super duper excited for today's topic because it's something that I feel like is going to resonate for a lot of people. We're on episode 14, I believe, honey. I was just looking back at the first episode, girl. I cannot believe we started this podcast 9 months ago. That means 3 more months, it'll be a year since Cozy Convos has existed. But okay, let me stop rambling and go ahead and get into the topic because I'm very excited. Today we are going to be discussing why every day should feel like the weekend.
Let's have a conversation and make it cozy. Let's dive into the unknown so we can continue growing. It won't always feel so comfortable letting go of limited beliefs, but we know we have big dreams and goals, so we're committed even when truth gets heavy. Let's have a conversation and make it cozy. Let's address the hard things and still make it feel so cozy. Let's embrace our flaws so we can feel even more cozy. This safe space won't make you feel anything other than cozy.
Girl, I'm sitting here flipping through my notes, y'all. We have some things to cover. It's a couple of pages, honey. But okay, being that it is Pride Month, honey, Juneteenth has just passed, I wanted today's topic to be something that was more fun and lighthearted, you know? Something upbeat to accommodate the warm weather that we are experiencing right now in June. And you all know this by now if you've been keeping up with the podcast. I'm someone who likes to think deeply about things. I like to think about things beyond, the physical. I just like to think about the broader aspect of things. And the more I progress in my life, the older I become, honey. Oh my God, y'all, I feel like I'm getting off topic too fast. But y'all, I am about to be 23 in October, girl. Like, it's so crazy to me. Like, I'm looking at a lot of people my age. This is the year that, people who went to college, girl, they graduated college. So, like, girl, we are really in here. Like, I'm really in adulthood. Can you believe it? But with that being said, that does give me a lot to reflect on, and I stopped blindly following the rule book that's been given to us since childhood. Because the more I tap into my intuition, the more I tap into my own spirituality and my individual journey, I understand the meaning of my life. I understand my purpose. I understand more of why I am here and what my existence is for. I'm just more so being guided into what feels more so in alignment with my soul. And through this exploration of what I want my life to consist of, I've examined the hustle culture, honey, the 9-to-5 life, and kind of thinking about how does it apply to me. And by no means am I making this video to diminish anybody's path to stability and freedom. I'm just sharing some observations that I've made about myself as an individual that I feel like could resonate for so many of us, because I see so much stuff, girl, on TikTok, girl, on Instagram, on the social media world, about how people really genuinely do not like what is required of us to live. So I'm just sharing this, hoping that somebody may resonate with my perspective once again. Now, when I say every day should feel like the weekend, that could sound misleading for somebody who does not understand what I'm speaking about. And that depends on what you use your weekends for. But I do think that it's fair to say that when most of us think of the weekend, we think of relaxing, we think of having fun, kicking back, enjoying ourselves. Having joyful experiences, doing things that make us feel good. And I feel we often hear about the work-life balance. I just resonate with that statement or that term. I don't know how you would say that. I resonate with that in a different way. I don't feel like work-life balance should be two things that are separate from each other, if that makes sense. One thing where you're meant to enjoy it and the other thing you're not supposed to. Honey, I don't resonate with that. I feel like it should be combined. I don't feel like we're supposed to divide our time between work and play like we have been taught. I don't feel like we should have to suffer for success or suffer to feel like we deserve to enjoy ourselves. And I feel like that's what we've been conditioned to think, and I feel like that's what's been keeping us in this poverty mindset. We spend majority of our weeks contributing to these large corporations and slave away for pennies while they keep raising the prices on everything, honey, everything. Just so that we remain stressed, overworked, and too focused on trying to make ends meet to really take a step back and really think about how fucked up all of this shit is. No shade. Baby, can we talk about it? I do not feel that this is what we were created to do. Now, girl, I want everybody to put their thinking caps on, girl. I know, in today's society, a lot of people don't dig deep and think. Honey, people would rather be entertained than enlightened. But for my girls, I want to be enlightened, honey. And trust, I'm not trying to be condescending, baby. I'm just saying that God gave us a brain for a reason, honey, so I think we need to start using it. It's a very crucial time right now in society. But walk with me, walk with me. Money is a man-made object that only has worth and value because we have consented and agreed to giving it that value. And I know that this has been a system that has existed for centuries at this point. I believe, honey, they traded gold at first before they, created the paper money that we know of today. But I want you to think about the fact that the currency we use is its paper. They are literally taking natural resources from the earth and selling it back to us for a price within the system they've created and decided that this is how much something that comes from the earth that is natural. Girl, sorry, my little flower decor, honey. I'm trying to keep it cute, but girl, I'm getting deep into it. But it's just like, who has decided that these natural resources, these things that should be free for everybody, who decided that this is how much it's worth and this is how much you're going to have to pay for it, or else you'll have to experience some form of suffering? I just had to think about this. I'm like, so you're telling me that I could go outside right now and I could take a leaf from a tree and that would be the thing that creates this thing that they have put words and symbols and occult symbols and everything on? You're telling me that these are the same things, but because they did this, whatever they did to it, it's worth more than what it came from. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say? Like, is the dots clicking for you? They literally designed paper from trees and told us that in order to obtain this, you have to spend 5 days or more a week trying to accumulate enough of what they make from a natural resource that we all have access to live in this economy that they control and govern. Honey, if that does not make you scratch your head, I don't know what will. I've really had to ponder on these things and break it down for myself, because when you really take time to reflect, it's so backwards. We've been conditioned and brainwashed to hold money to such a high regard that we can't see its fragility. We can't see that the value so intensely placed on it is artificial. So I started taking all of these questions, all of that knowledge, and asking myself, then what is the point of this life? Girl, and especially with Juneteenth just passing, honey, I feel like I'm having another awakening in my black power, baby. I refuse to continue to serve this white capitalistic girl. Honey, I'm just tapping more so into my indigenous culture. I'm tapping more so into my ancestral practices, those kinds of things. And the more I do so, the more I do not resonate with the system that has governed the society for so long. And I do feel like a lot of us, of course, because they don't tell us this, but we don't know that there were a lot of points in history that this was not the way things were. So because I'm continuing to disassociate myself from the patriarchy, from white supremacy, from capitalism, all of these crooked, cruel, weird things, I'm left with this whole new understanding of my life. What is its meaning? What is its purpose? Because I know that that's not my purpose. I know that I'm not supposed to serve the system. I know that that's not what God created me to do. And I know that I hate this shit. I know that we all hate this shit. And if it's impossible to achieve stability through traditional means, how do we achieve it? How do we find happiness? How do we find purpose? How do we know what life should look like for us and how to get there? How do we know what goals to set for ourselves? Asking myself these questions led me to reflect on my own working experiences in the past. I realized that those environments always reflected the system that we're governed by. No matter where I went, honey, there was bias, racism, discrimination, prejudice, some form of conflict, some form of tension, because I feel like deep down, nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to be doing this. So that misery creates all of these externalizing factors that affects each person that is there. And honey, because we go to school and we're taught to raise our hand, we're taught to bow down and submit, we endure it or we take it because we don't want to be fired, because then if we get fired, we don't have money to make enough to live. Girl, it's just... Jesus, my brain. It's just so many factors that goes into, it's such a calculated, very meticulously carved out thing that we are having to fight up against. But the workplace is built on the same hierarchy that governs society. And I realized very quickly in my life, honey, like I said, as I am approaching 23 in October, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, I'm an adult. God. But as I approach an older age, baby, I've learned that these spaces will not properly accommodate somebody like me. Someone who refuses to fit into the mold of what the worker bee is supposed to be. The worker bee is supposed to be, girl. Honey, come on. School teaches us to be conforming, to be passive, to be a people pleaser, to think along with everybody else. And if you go against everybody else, if you decide to have a brain for your own and you decide to step away from the crowd and what everybody else is doing, then you're picked on, then you're ostracized, then life is harder for you, or life is supposed to be made to be harder for you. And so many of us compromise our authenticity, our true identities, to remain digestible in these confined spaces, when these higher ups are going to keep you low enough so they can remain in control anyway, whether you conform or not, baby. Honey, you can follow the rules, you can go to college, you can go to school, and I'm not saying, maybe, a lot of people have achieved, emotional stability, physical stability. They've achieved everything by, going the path that we're supposed to go down. But I just have witnessed for myself, even when I did try to conform, even when I did try to dim my light, it never worked anyway. So it's kind of like a damned if I do, damned if I don't situation. The discomfort of spending hours and hours in confined spaces, standing on your feet in uncomfortable weather conditions, is not something that I feel should be normalized. Girl, I remember when I first started working at Hair Cedar, I was like 16, girl. And I had my first 6-hour shift, and I only had a 15-minute break in between 6 hours. I was standing on my feet for 3 hours at a time, bagging people's groceries, restocking products and items on the shelf. I said, this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life? Or this is the normal job of what people are doing? I cannot do Baby, I cannot do this. I did not last too much longer than 2 years. But that's, I was a teenager. I really didn't have no choice. I had to, follow rules and everything like that. But I remember that first day on the job, baby, I was suffering. I had a headache. I felt dizzy. That was my first time ever having to stand up for a long period of time like that without any breaks. Honey, physically, that was the most discomforting experience I think I may have ever experienced. And being that we are fresh off of Juneteenth, I gotta bring it back around and ask the audience, what does that remind you of? Standing on your feet for long hours in uncomfortable environments, honey, in confined spaces. Honey, what does that sound like? Sounds like slavery, doesn't it? Sounds like what our ancestors fought so hard to rid our bloodlines of. It sounds like being in the field picking cotton doing what Master says. And I hate to say it, but slavery does still exist. It does. It does. It's just more sophisticated. If they can't enslave us physically, they have to enslave us mentally. So that's why I mentioned money and all of these natural resources and things that they have decided the value that it should be worth. The intention behind placing value on natural resources that we all are entitled to as humans. Because it's just another form of limiting us to what we think is possible. To what we think we need to achieve to get stability or to get comfort. And I know it sounds like I'm anti-job, I'm anti-9 to 5. I'm not really saying that. I'm just saying that if jobs do exist, they should incorporate an energy that feels less like labor, be it manual, mental, spiritual, and girl, probably all of them combined, and more like a genuine contribution to oneself and society's well-being. We should have jobs that accommodate our passions and what we are actually here to do. So many of us are talented, so many of us have gifts that we never get to use to its fullest capacity. We should have jobs we look forward to going to every single day. That helps us helps us know we are serving something meaningful. And on top of that, one job should supply us with everything that we need to thrive in this society. We are a unique and talented group of people. We are such a magical species, but the system doesn't accommodate that purposely, because then the white man can't stay rich and in control of the people. Most of us know the struggle of achieving even a crumb of stability. There's no logical reason that rent should be raising, groceries should be raising and increasing. Prices on damn near everything, let's be honest. There is no reason everything should be becoming more expensive and the wages are not accommodating or matching the expenses and the risings of the prices and the things that we need to live, survive, and thrive. Like, it doesn't make sense and it never will. And I do feel like more and more of us are waking up to it. How are you going to continue to raise the prices on homes, on basic survival needs, but then you don't give us the resources to be able to get how much you are asking us to pay for these things? The gap is just becoming too wide, honey. And in the rare chance that the wages are raised, the task at hand is so boring and miserable that it makes getting through the shift mentally and physically excruciating. Then we need all of these distractions to ease our misery, which leads down a dark hole. Y'all see how all of this trickles down, how all of it connects? It's like even if you do make enough, the thing that you're doing to make that is so pointless, it's so meaningless, it gives nothing to your soul for fulfillment. It's just like you're passively existing. This creates unhappy people that feel suffering on a daily basis, and then spreads that energy to the people around them. Then you have employees and customers treating each other with attitudes because they hate that they have to be there in the first place. Y'all see how they are forcing us to be miserable, forcing us to be against each other, forcing us to just be walking around with these nasty ass attitudes? It's very intentional. It's designed that way for a reason, baby. And it's not like these things couldn't change. It's just more beneficial to have billions, I guess, billions of people suffering so that they are too distracted to investigate the errors in this corrupt system that we are governed by. So lately I've been really disassociating with the idea that I need to be overworking myself or expending so much energy to achieve certain outcomes career-wise. I realized that with me being more committed to a path of artistry, of entrepreneurship, I have to disassociate with the idea that I need to be so focused on the outcome, the end goal, instead of experiencing the present moment and enjoying the journey of becoming. And that's very complex and that looks different for everybody. But for me, it's all about alignment. Tapping into myself, learning more about Elijah. It just becomes more evident the way that I am not supposed to live and the way that I am supposed to live. When you experience that soul connection with something higher than yourself, when you tap into your own intuition, it becomes very easy to weed out the things that don't make sense for you. If something's not in alignment, it's going to disrupt your soul. Your body's not going to feel right. You're going to feel physical, mental discomfort. You're going to feel drained. And I don't want to spend my days passively existing and hating my life, all to keep from being broken homeless. Because, honey, that's the only thing that literally drives any of us. We don't want to be struggling. We don't want to be broke. We don't want to be homeless. We don't want to be at the bottom of the barrel. It's just many of us have never explored any other avenues of how we can achieve a level of stability to where we don't ever have to worry about us being in those circumstances. I have discovered that there is a lot of hidden knowledge, a lot of paths that you could take to get to a level of internal peace and stability so that that can then be reflected in your external everyday reality. And I just think we have to stop demonizing certain things and looking to all of these structures to treat us fairly, because that's not why they were created, baby. We are a creation that is meant to create and pour into one another, as well as enjoy the luxuries of this earth that we occupy. I don't feel that this society should be a hierarchy, but it should be a community that we live in. It should be us working together. It should be us trading goods, trading resources, pouring into one another. And I want my stability to come from doing what I love, which is why I fight so hard to stay away from the things that may compromise that. Yes, there are good days, there are bad days. There are days when you don't feel like pushing. There are days when you want to give up. Honey, we've all been there. Let's be honest. Let's be real. But I feel like you have to make the experience of becoming more joyful and more fun, because that's what makes life worth living. For example, working on this episode, I went to the park. I had me a little meal, honey. I laid in the grass and I listened to some cute little R&B, neo-soul, lo-fi music as I just jotted down my ideas for this episode that I am now sharing with you all. It made it feel less like a task and more like I'm just relaxing and enjoying my day. Just like another little activity, if you will. It's the little things like that that makes the work fun, to the point where it doesn't feel like you're working because you genuinely enjoy the task that you're doing. My commitment to my passion projects is so strong because I know what I want my reality to consist of. I know my birthright. And any of you all out there watching that are on the same path as me, or you're walking down a different one, but it's in alignment with what your soul needs, baby, be bold and be brave and be firm in that. There's going to be a lot of different things that tries to come along and stop you, that tries to get into your way, tries to get into your head, tries to get into your ear, tries to make you see yourself as less than what you are, tries to make you feel insecure, tries to have doubts creep in. Honey, it'll try you from every angle that it possibly can. That's why it is so important to treat yourself and pour into yourself. Know yourself past your physical vessel so that you know you are worthy and deserving of so much more. You are deserving of the life that you want. Every form of indoctrination that I've experienced has ended badly. Whether it was friends, family trying to contain me and keep me in this limited sphere of what my capability is. Whether it was school, whether it was jobs, trying to keep me small, trying to keep me limited, or just, coming up against me. It's just always been present in some form of fashion. And being a black, queer, feminine man going into the workplace, always experienced discrimination. Whether it was loud or an undercurrent, it very much existed. And especially the more I tapped into my spirituality, the more I was able to read things, beyond the surface. And I often share my spiritual journey with you guys because I really would love for more people to understand that intuition, discernment, these things are a superpower, and it spares you from heartbreak. It spares you from being in spaces that you're not supposed to be in. It gets you out of things just when the enemy thought it was going to kill you. Honey, it's really a superpower, girl. But experiencing all of that discrimination, experiencing that indoctrination, it taught me a very, very valuable lesson about me and my life, and I'm so grateful for it. Because without the constant reminder of the hateful, deceptive place a lot of people in these spaces are operating from, I wouldn't have started looking for solutions elsewhere. If going to these jobs and being in these workplaces would have worked out, or if I just wasn't tapped into my spirituality and couldn't really read people's true intentions, read how they were really feeling about me, getting those downloads from spirit, I wouldn't have dug deeper into myself and learned more about indigenous culture, learn more about the system, learn more about the history that has been erased, the things that have existed before this period of capitalism that we are surrounded by now. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but the more I go down the rabbit hole, girl, the more I realize the society we live in, this is not how it has always been. A lot of these empires, a lot of the land is stolen. I mean, we know this, but I don't think we know this, I don't think we know the extent. Like, honey, black people ruled the world, honey. We were wealthy. Of course, like any empire, it falls. But that does not mean we are permanently oppressed. That doesn't mean we need to carry that identity of being discriminated against everywhere, or just in our own everyday reality. That's why I feel like it's so important for us to be tapping into our lineages, our ancestry. Just learning more about where we come from, the things we are capable of, the things our ancestors did, the doors they opened for us, the kingdoms they ruled, the empires they held. Because I feel like it'll help us see ourselves in a different light than what we have been used to seeing ourselves in. Learning all of these things about my heritage and reflecting on the workplace, reflecting on the hierarchy, I started to understand the unacknowledged domino effect. How the higher ups created a hierarchy based on white supremacy, and patriarchy that has infected all of our lives, has infected the workplace, has infected how we treat people who are different from us or who exist outside of the box of what many people believe humans are supposed to be. So it became very clear that I wasn't going to be happy and I wasn't going to be able to build a life that is fulfilling through these systems because they were not created for people such as myself. And the more I reflect on this statement, the more it comes up, the more comfortable I become. I'm more comfortable disassociating myself from an energy that feels toxic to my soul. Toxic endless labor is going to produce toxic people, and that's the end goal. I just feel like we have to recognize that nothing is by accident, nothing is a coincidence. And I never want to become the type of person that is stiff or dull, feeling like I can only have designated moments throughout my life where I can experience joy or I am deserving of it. I don't want to feel like there is only pinpointed designated moments where I can relax or explore more. And treating every day like it's a day to have fun, whether I'm working on my creative endeavors or just simply trying something new in the city, it makes my life worth living. I find more fulfillment in taking the time to create fun experiences throughout my work days because it's another thing that helps me become less attached to the outcome. I become too busy being present and actually living my life to think about, oh, how is this going to be received? How many views and likes is this going to get? Because I'm so present and immersed in the experience of actually creating and enjoying it. And I feel like that's so helpful for me and could be helpful for so many of us because it'll teach us how to slow down. It'll teach us to appreciate the little things. It'll teach us how to appreciate and learn about ourselves through the journey, through the art of becoming. And consistently living my life this way has created a different kind of freedom. Oh my goodness, girl. And that word freedom. Now, y'all know I'm an honest person. You know, I can be candid, I can be vulnerable, and I do want to share something. It was once difficult for me to reflect on my past and how it seemed that people were more supportive of me being a freaked out gay teenage boy that was broken, girl looking for love and intimacy in all the wrong places. It awakened me to the true intentions of people who claim to support me, preferring that over, me pursuing my passion projects, doing things that are more fulfilling for me, doing things that are more fulfilling to my soul, more fulfilling to my spirit, things that are just more uplifting. That demographic of people wasn't really for me. I was just another stereotypical gay boy, or gay parody, I like to say, that they can point and laugh at, talk about, gossip about, project on, focus on. And I've had to learn on numerous occasions that is not a reflection of me or my worth. And in a world that thrives off of constant stimulation, I have to continuously learn that there is no fulfillment there, and constantly creating with the outcome in mind of how it will be received by everybody. It's a weird thing to transition and kind of switch career paths. I mean, of course, it's still social media, and I'm still Elijah Honey to my core, but I just wanted to share that being somebody who knows what it's like to be quote-unquote famous and have a lot of people know you, to choose yourself over the external world, to choose yourself over what everybody else wants you to do or how everybody else sees you or how everybody else would prefer for you to be. Going against that and choosing yourself and remaining committed to doing things that feels better to you is going to outlast you and take you so much further than pleasing society and catering to people who have showed you on numerous occasions that they do not have your best interest at heart, honey. They just want to be entertained. They just want you to make them laugh, honey. I don't want to say, but girl, it's kind of like, an animal in the circus, honey. They don't care about your well-being. They just want you to dance and give them a show, give them something to be entertained by. Like I said earlier, a lot of people would rather be entertained than enlightened. So that's why making my endeavors a more enjoyable experience is my new philosophy. As long as something makes you happy, as long as something gives you that good feeling, honey, makes you all jittery and getting you, wait, is butterflies a good thing? I guess butterflies can be a good thing, in your stomach and stuff. As long as you have that feeling, baby, that's going to outlast all of the superficial gratification that eventually leads to an insatiable appetite. And I feel like this philosophy is the true key to longevity, especially for me, just by detaching more and more from the physical and focusing on what actually motivates me to get up and go. Because, honey, it's definitely not a limited fixed salary, girl, minimum wage, or whatever, girl. They be trying to give us these little breadcrumbs, honey, that's keeping me pushing. And it can be so easy to give up on your dreams. It can be so easy to give up on things that you're passionate about, to, go with the crowd or go back to the job force or do things that you deeply do not resonate with, but because, we gotta live, or because I need instant results, or because I need it to look this way. It can be very easy to give up on yourself, give up on your dreams. Especially, girl, it's really about, well, I wouldn't say it's a battle. It can be. But it's really a commitment to self-love, because if you love yourself enough, you are not going to give up the thing that you know fulfills you the most. No matter who sees it, no matter who doesn't see it, no matter who's talking about it, no matter who's gossiping, no matter what anybody is saying, you love yourself enough to stay committed to what you know you are called to do. That's a commitment in yourself. That's a faith that money can never, ever, ever buy. And that'll be the key to you being the last man standing, baby. Girl, so just, baby, stay committed to it. Stay committed. Even when it don't feel like it's working, even when you don't like what it looks like, honey, stay committed. If you know that, if you've received that divine, girl, that divine intervention, that divine clarity, that this is you, this is what God has placed you on this earth to contribute to society, baby, stay on it. Stay on it. I'm just sharing my story for the girlies who have felt the call and needed that confirmation. Whether you're an artist, a scientist, an entrepreneur, whatever you are, honey, be intentional about having fun as you build your empire, as you chase your dreams. Cultivate that sacred space, understanding that pursuing your passion does not need to be serious all the time. It doesn't need to be this structured, disciplined, scheduled, hard work, hustle, routine. It does not need to look like that, because that sucks the fun and takes the joy out of everything. That's why I don't resonate with retirement, because what do you mean I can only enjoy life when I'm older, when my bones are more fragile, girl, when my skin is wrinkly? What do you mean I can't enjoy my life now in my 20s and my 30s, when I'm young and hip and when I'm most active? My whole life should consist of fun. My whole life should be an enjoyable experience, not just this one sector, not just these certain specific days. Thinking that way will motivate you more than the results you hope to see, especially when you're still in the building phase. It just regulates my nervous system. It just stimulates my brain. Because in my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, I get to go to the beach today. I get to work on music. I get to finish a song. I get to write new music. I get to jot down some more ideas that I have for content. I get to plan it out. And then I get to hop in the water, enjoy a little meal, girl, read a book. That's what life is all about for me. That's what I feel like we should all be striving for. I feel that so much of the division, so much of the conflict, so much of the back and forth, the competitiveness, girl, all of this toxic energy that has consumed so much of the world. I feel like if we just each focused on our own individual path and actually tuned into what we need and start being intentional about enjoying life while we are building our future, all of that unnecessary negative energy would cease to exist. Now, of course, I don't have everything figured out, honey. We are not all knowing. But this is one area of expertise I've developed going on my third year here in New York City, in the Big Apple. And I have faith, not just for myself, but for all of you watching, that the more we embody the energy we were meant to as souls having a human experience, then everything will naturally fall into place, honey. It is karmic law, it's divine order, it's the universal way. As long as you are a good person, you're putting good things out into the universe. As long as you are treating yourself, as long as you are healing, continuously practicing self-love and all that it encompasses, your reality will bend to that existence. I am a firm believer in that. We've been tricked into thinking that we need to suffer and sacrifice our well-being to achieve success. We've been told to work now, play later, when the work should be the play. When you decide what you want your life to look like, stay grounded and protect your energy. Let your inner knowing guide you, because only you can dictate how your life should go. We shouldn't have to wait until we're senior citizens to rest and enjoy the planet. So friends, let's give a big fuck you to the system, alright? And do the things that genuinely make us happy. Because the world would be a better place if more of us were. Oh my goodness, you guys. Well, that is gonna wrap up Cozy Convos Podcast, episode 14, honey, of Every Day Should Feel Like the Weekend. Mellow, baby, I need you to hush and I need you to sit down, because I'm almost done and you're interfering with your noise in your claws. Sit down. Sit down. Sorry, as I was saying. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, honey. Stay tuned for more episodes. Oh my gosh, girl. And on my other channel, baby, I have some new performances that I have uploaded, honey. I performed It's That Time in Royal Ball, my songs from my 4th upcoming mixtape. Girl, I was nervous. I'll chat a little bit more about that on my other channel. But yes, check it out. The link will be in my bio. And I just hope you guys enjoyed this episode so much. Of course, leave me down your comments. I would love to hear from you. I would love to know where you're at in your journey, what you thought about what I shared. And of course, we will see you guys in the next episode, okay? Kisses, hugs, and many, many, many blessings. Mwah.